was very young, I used to go to stay with my auntie and uncle in a beautiful part of England called Salisbury, renowned and remembered for its cathedral. And it was always wonderful. I was the only child when I was there, so I had their attention, which was quite delightful. But the hardest part was always leaving, because I couldn't imagine that I'd ever come back. You don't have much to go on when you're 8 or 10 years old. And even to this day, when I go and stay with friends that I haven't seen for a long time, and we have a period of time together, there's always something of the same sadness. And that is the stuff of life, isn't it? Nothing is forever except for the love and the mercy of God. And as we get closer to the end of the Easter season, the weekday readings and the gospel talk about this presence and absence. In a little while you will see me, in a little while you will see me not. And the disciples scratch their heads in amazement at whatever is he talking about. Well, I must confess, I've felt that when it comes to the Feast of the Ascension for many a year. And some time ago I came across Ronald Rolheiser, a wonderful writer. He runs the Oblate School of Theology in San Antonio. And this is what Rolheiser says about the Ascension. Take, for instance, parents. There's often an excruciating pain when a child grows up and goes away, and eventually goes away to start a life of his or her own. And he says, a real death takes place here. An ascension has to happen. An old way of relating has to die, painful as that death is. Yet, it's better that our children go away. The same is true everywhere in life. When we visit someone, it's important that we come. It's also important that we leave. Our leaving, painful though it is part of the gift of our visit. Our presence partly depends upon our absence. And so how the world has changed. Ways of thinking, ways of acting no longer apply. I know we like our own space, but this is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? At least we would have thought that 2 months or 10 weeks ago. If somebody had said to me that the churches would no longer be open on Sundays, oh, don't be ridiculous. Things change. That is the essence of life. And certainly as church, as followers of Christ, we too are called to change. And oh, isn't that difficult? Because we love to hang on to what we were taught, what we came to believe, and then something happens in our life to knock that understanding totally and utterly out of bounds, that we're forced to think anew. And that is what the followers of Christ were faced with. A little while you'll see me, a little while you will see me not. But whatever happened on that mountain, and whatever happened when the Spirit comes down, that change was transformative. That led a frightened band into fearless warriors, not with swords or guns, but with the love and the knowledge and an experience of God. And so as we celebrate this Ascension Sunday, as we remember our veterans and pray for their eternal rest and thank God for their service. We think about the service that you and I are called to. How we, in whatever situations we find ourselves, are called to act as followers of Christ. Baptized with water in his suffering, death, and resurrection. And called not to stay in one place, but to go and make this Jesus known. And so our mission, although it may seem to have been stunted, that mission is more alive and more necessary than ever. Using all of the wisdom that we can accrue, a wisdom that comes from God, a wisdom that involves faith, so that we can respond, not downcast or beaten, but charged, commanded, because we have a mission, we're on it, and we're called to fulfill it, and we're called to turn and turn again to the one whom we call Jesus, that our image of him can be refined and purified, so that we don't worship false gods, but follow the one who filled these men with such confidence and such love, they transformed time.
Please like, subscribe, or comment below.